So guys, it is currently day 221 or 200, yeah, 221 and the time is currently 6:46. So yes, blame me, crucify me. I woke up 1 hour late or about 1 hour and 30 minutes late, but that is because last night I slept a bit later. So I still cannot neglect my sleep. I can't neglect my rest because I had stayed up a little bit later. So if I stay up late, then I wake up a little bit later. Yes, that's not optimal, but we have to not neglect our rest and recovery because if we do, then our performance will decline the next day. And yes, maybe if I woke up this morning earlier, then perhaps I wouldn't decrease my performance that much. But it is a habit that we have to avoid because it is so easy to fall into the loop or the cycle of staying up very late and then just waking up early because we think that during the night we have our peace and quiet, we can focus. But doing so, and if you neglect rest, then tomorrow is going to be unproductive. Tomorrow is going to be a shit day, and more importantly, your body is going to build up a lot of excess fatigue that you have to get rid of later down the line. So instead of waiting that day to come, prioritize your recovery, which is the topic I want to talk about. Why it is not worth it spending an extra few hours every single night to stay up and do the work and neglect rest, neglect sleep. That is super important, and we should, and I recommend that we should not do that because I used to do that and it has never really served me in a great way. That being said, before I do that though, I'm gonna get up now, get into the first work block. Of course, because I slept a little bit longer yesterday, I'm feeling very refreshed, feeling very clear. So I'm just gonna go right into it, guys. So without further ado, I'll see you guys this afternoon. So guys, the time is currently 10:34 and I managed to sit through a little bit of work this morning before I have to go to my afternoon shift, and today is going to be the last one for the week and I'm super grateful of that. But either way, I'm super happy with doing what I'm doing because as long as I have some time to do the things I want to do, to work towards my goals and end purpose, then that is a fulfilling life already. Because once we start controlling our actions, once we start controlling our mind, we realize that we have so much capabilities and potentials within us, and the only thing stopping us from reaching our greatest self is our own lack of control over our will, is our own lack of control over our desires, and giving in to temptations. And by living in a world full of distractions, it certainly hasn't made any easier on our part to stay disciplined and to stay committed, working towards a goal that may be uncertain. Which is why having control and taking control back on your actions and having the freedom of choice, which I do believe all of us have, by the way, is a tremendous feeling and perhaps a stepping stone for you to reach your brilliance. Because without having control over our mind, guys, we allow distractions to control us. When we are not focused, we are distracted. So if we don't take hold back of what is ours, if we don't take control of what is ours, then we are going to let the world bully us around. Then we are going to go to a job we hate. We are going to spend the rest of our life with someone we don't like. And most importantly, we will be discontent with our own lives. So, taking control of your mind isn't just about building discipline, isn't just about working the hard things or doing the difficult things and to face your pain. But taking control of your mind means that you're reshaping your life into the life you always wanted to live. You are building yourself into the person you always saw yourself as. And that is what I believe taking control of your mind is. Sure, you get to do the hard things, you get to face the difficulties, and perhaps you get more out of life. But all of those are byproducts of who you become in the process. If you become someone worthy of a nice house, if you become someone worthy of a nice spouse, then eventually that'll come to you. But if you always chase for these superficial gains, if you chase for these tangible results, then you never will understand what it takes to become that person who is deserving of those things. And to deserve those things, to deserve the opulence of life, we have to first take control of ourselves. We have to first do the things that is required of us to have those things we so desire and want. And if we fail to just do this first step, then we never will become the person we want to become. If we fail to take control of our urges and say no to temptations, then we never will reach our brilliance in this world. So I am super happy that this morning I took control of my mind. Although I woke up a little bit later, although my morning routine was totally squandered, it was alright because I know in the moment that I still had the choice to make. That I could either lay in bed and say to myself, you know what, this is it. My day is ruined, and let me just squander my day and do more self sabotaging things. Or I can just say, yes, I did sleep in and I did make that choice. But I can make a better choice now to turn my life around, to turn my day around. And a lot of the times we go for the former rather than the latter. We rather continue our self destruction because we already feel defeated. We'd rather continue to self sabotage ourselves because we already made failure at his face. But rather picking the other option, to pick the latter, to say, no, I'm going to bounce back from my urges, and say, no, I'm not going to fall into more temptation, takes courage, takes boldness, and takes some discipline. But all that can happen if we have control of our mind. All that can happen by practicing daily discipline, by facing the fears, doubt, and uncertainties you're trying to avoid. Because by having more worry, you're only weakening your muscle of mental resilience. But by facing it one bite at a time, just a little bite at a time, you are going to overcome something that was greater than what you thought was possible. That being said, I'm gonna get ready now. Otherwise, I'll miss my bus, and that certainly isn't the thing I want to do since I have just started my work as a newbie. So I'll come back today with some tremendous more things to say because today, guys, like I have said, is an amazing day, and why not keep this up for the rest of the day? I'll see you guys back. So, guys, it is the wrap of the day, and it is around 8 o'clock today. And before I made this video, I came back home and just did some more work or tried to do some work. And I realized that lately I have picked up a very bad habit, and that is dependence. And dependence is a bad habit because once you rely on someone to do something, or once you rely on someone to tell you to do something, then you lose your own creativity, then you lose your own inspiration to go out and achieve more with your life. Now, this habit of dependency, I'm not sure exactly how I picked up this habit again, but I have noticed that lately when I'm trying to solve a problem, I am looking for the answer rather than trying to figure it out myself more. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this was the case simply because I am rushing my project. Therefore, I don't really want to spend a lot of time thinking and trying to figure it out. But I know in the long run, that is the most beneficial way to learn, is to just solve the problem yourself. And once you really do need help, then look for the answer. But I feel like at the moment, instead of trying to solve the problem myself, I'm just looking for the answer right away. And that is dependence, guys. That is dependence because you're not relying on yourself to be independent. And when you're not independent, then you cannot take care of yourself. Once you can't take care of yourself, then when some difficulties come, when the dependence starts to fade away, or that the person you depended on can't provide you any more information or help, then you are going to just be defeated because you have no idea how to handle your own problems. You don't know how to handle your own issues once that dependency can no longer support you. So I realized this habit of dependency started to form, which means I really need to cut this habit out as soon as possible. Like, I mean, immediately. So, what I think I'll be doing is that tomorrow it'll be a new day, obviously. And what I think I'll do is that tomorrow I'm gonna just try and solve the problem myself, the problems I'm faced with myself, and I'll look for guidance but not solutions. If I don't exactly remember how to write certain types of code, then I'll look for guidance on how to write it, but not looking for the solution. Because if I look for the solution, not only do I not understand how that solution came to be, but also I am not learning. And that is just fooling myself of competence, because you may think you know how to do something once the answer is presented to you, but when you're left to do it again by yourself, well, guess what? You haven't learned, because looking at the answer isn't growing in knowledge. You just looked at the answer, which makes what seems difficult easy. But have you really learned anything? Perhaps not. So, dependency is a real issue, and that is the last thing I want to pick up, because I managed to stay away from dependency. So, the last thing I want to do is pick up the habit that I got rid of so long ago. So, yeah, this is just something I have noticed, something not really great about myself recently, but that's great that I have noticed this issue so that I could root this out before it becomes a serious issue, before I start to depend on dependent people. And when that happens and I'm left by myself, well, guess what? I will probably be more easily aggravated by a problem or an obstacle. So I have to stay independent and also interdependent. That means using other people's skill sets to contribute to a bigger project, to contribute to a bigger goal. But you cannot use other people's skill sets and also produce a great result if you are not independent yourself, because then you're just relying on other people to carry you in life, which definitely isn't the way you want to go in life. But this is just little of what I had realized today when I came back from work, when I sat on my desk for about an hour and a half just working away. I realized that I have this habit of dependency forming. So the goal is really to get rid of this habit before it takes root. So that is the plan for tomorrow. And tomorrow I will have the day off. Matter of fact, the whole weekend I'll have the day off. So that means I could spend 100% of my energy towards finishing my project. And this is very, very exciting news, because once this is done, I'm going to further improve on my learning, further improve on taking on more challenging projects, and hopefully by then I can create something that I have been destined and just itching to create. So that is the plan. But I hope you guys had learned something from this. If not, like always, I'll be here for you guys tomorrow. But until then, good night.